Welcome back to the Builders Coach Show. I'm Jess, I'm your host, and I'm here with Kurt from Builders Coach. Kurt, welcome.
Thanks, Jess. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Yes, good. We've just come back from our Perth trip. It was amazing. We did a one-day workshop in Perth, and then you and I went on the weekend to Rottnest Island, which was quite nice.
Yeah, finally got to see Rottnest, eh? All the locals keep telling us, got to go. So finally did it, and it didn't disappoint, right? Beautiful place.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really nice place. It's always fun to just mix, work and pleasure and just, make good use of our time.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. Anyone who hasn't been to Rottnest Island over in Perth, you've got to go. 30 minutes by ferry from Perth. It's close and the water's beautiful. It reminded me of the Maldives. It was maybe not as clean, but it was just absolutely incredible. And 18-kilometer bike ride around the island.
Yeah, we did a lot of cycling.
Took a bit of strain on the legs.
Yes. But our event workshop, it was great to be back in Perth. We go like once a year, I think.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. We had a really good room also of people. Some of your clients were there too. So that was really nice.
Yeah. I got a text message actually from one of our very special clients over in WA after we got back. And it's like a new type of seven-figure club. He managed to secure a project where the gross profit on the job, it's just under, I think, 6 million. And the gross profit's over $1 million.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's an awesome win.
Yeah. So there should be like an honorary sort of seven-figure club where you
need the next level.
Exactly.
Now you've got so many of your clients that are in the seven-figure club. You need the club just after that. Like, what's the next?
Yeah, we need like an award or a badge, right? Yeah. So seven-figure club is that net $1 million in 12 months, and then but have you got a project with $1 million gross margin? Yeah.
Wait, and then the next one will be like 8-figure club.
8-figure, yeah. I've had someone I've had someone send me a business plan with an 8-figure goal. Yeah, nice. So netting $10 million. Yeah, and I was impressed. Like the vision, vision.
That's sweaty hands, basically.
Yeah, you got to have the stomach for those numbers, but I love it.
No, awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. But look, that's awesome, 7-figure club. But what about the smaller builders? What I want to talk about today is leadership. And I think one of the important things we need to really think of and tell our clients is to, this first step of like stepping off the tools.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I know some people listening go 7-figure club, like they're not interested in that. Not everyone wants to net $1 million. So let's bring it back down to what I consider one of the most pivotal moments in any builder's career. If they're serious about working on their business, taking control, putting systems in place. And that is, getting someone to run the jobs. So basically getting off the tools, getting off site. And there's a guy I was talking to, we're chatting about it before, right? They're one of my clients, a young guy, he's busy going through it now. There's a couple of guys actually that I'm talking to who are in that position where they're running multiple jobs, 4 or 5 jobs. They doing the supervision, the client communication, the project management as well, communicating with the architect, designers, and then doing everything else in the office. So this guy's got a good sales process. He's charging for quotes, and he's using preliminary agreements and even value managing, getting a one builder tender process. But the thing that's got him, but he's working hard and it's unsustainable. He's doing 60, sometimes 80 hours a week, and he's got his own development. He's got a piece of land where he's going to do one of his own builds, like what we call non-client work. But the thing that's put him in a position to step away is, and you're probably going to ask me, right, the numbers is actually costing in the supervisor, and then being able to see it in his forecasting, in his cash flow forecast, in his revenue projection. He can see now that he needs to start recruiting to bring on the right supervisor so that he can step back. And he'll step back into a project management role. So he'll still oversee that supervisor, but it's going to free him up significantly to start working on the business and spend his time where the money is, which is at the front end. Right, networking with architects, seeking that quality blue chip work. the high margin work. Yeah.
I think that's one of the main questions we have from our clients and people that we talk to is when do I hire that next person? When do I decide to step off the tools and get someone else in? Which it's a tricky question. You have to have your finances in order to be able to have a clear view of what's coming up next.
Absolutely. And like for anyone listening, I can explain how to do it, but maybe it's worthwhile looking at why most guys don't do it, which is they don't cost in supervision and project management. So when they're pricing up a job, they have their cost code. So there's the subcontractors, and then there's, the materials, and then the labor, like just the general labor, the carpentry. But then supervision and project management is, more than 50% of the time, not costed in. So that needs to be costed in ideally at an hourly rate weekly allocation. Then that needs to be tracked. And when that's done well and the volume of work is at a point where, that cost can cover the wages for a supervisor, then that's when you do it. And that's where you see it in the forecasting. But most builders, that go through their entire career, never costing in like supervision and project management. So what happens is they pay for it out of their profit. They're doing it for free. And they're also then at the mercy of market conditions. So like we have in Perth, it's really busy. Certain areas, there's high demand for builders. So, a lot of guys will naturally take on more work because there's more opportunity. But because they're not costing in the supervision, they maybe bring them on because they realize I'm doing 80 hours a week. I need to bring someone on, $3,000 a week to bring someone on. And maybe they bring on two at $6,000. That cost is in their overheads. It's not in cost of sales. And they start stressing out because they're doing more work. They as busy, and then cracks start to emerge because they don't have proper systems, and they make the same or less money. And then they shrink back down. And they say, to the guys in the pub that it's risky to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it comes back to the margins and the finance.
Yeah. Okay. I think you were telling me about another client story that you had around, stepping off the tools.
Yeah, there was. So I said there's a couple of guys, right? So one of them, we're just looking at, based on his projections, what is he going to turn over for this next financial year? And it's looking like around 2.8 million, just under 3 mil. That's work booked in. Yeah. We also look at a revenue projection, which is jobs in the pipeline based on prelim agreements, prelims with value management or just the cost analysis, charging for quotes. And you can predict the conversion rates conservatively there. But this is work on hand. His margins are 25%. So he's been able to hold the 25% margin, 33 markup. Yeah. And that's, so gross profit on that's $700,000. That's gross profit. I still need to pay overheads. Yeah. He's got a small operation. Most of our guys don't have an office. Like they work from home, right? And they just go out and see clients on site. Yeah. So his overheads are around $200,000. And that includes, part of his wage. Some of it's like a fixed expense. And then part of it's project management because he's still project managers. But that leaves him with $500,000 net profit before tax. And then he's got a development arm, or he's got, little developments that he's almost niched himself in. He's got an idea what he's going to do, yeah. I think that there was someone else that I wanted to mention or something else from I think, anyone looking to get off the tools, right, it's obviously a scary thing. But when you know the numbers, when you cost in and then you cash flow forecast, so you can see that you can afford them and where you're going to replace, what role you're going to take on as the business owner. So how you're going to sort of spend your time when that new guy comes on, that's great. But the revenue projection that I was talking about before, that forecasting is like it's giving you a runway, and essentially it's farming over hunting. Most guys are hunting, right? It's in our DNA, and it's naive to ignore or deny 30 years of evolution. Most guys want to, the analogy is hunt, get a job, catch it, eat it, kill it, eat it, and then go after the next one. And there's dopamine associated with it, and guys generally enjoy that. But the farming analogy is when you've got a pipeline of these preliminary agreements. And this guy that I'm thinking of now, he does like architectural builds. So $1 to $2 million projects, and he's catching some early, like where the client and the architect are engaging him as the builder. So they've done their due diligence and decided to work with him and want to do a budget-led design, right? So he's going to value engineer and go through a process, and they sign a prelim. But that job will start 12 months from now.
Yeah.
So that's the runway that I'm talking about. So he's got that workflow like way in advance. Plus he's got jobs on hand that are, beyond that. So he's got the next 2 years in front of him where, in terms of forecasting and being able to make informed decisions, he's put himself in such a good condition. And that is farming. So he's farming, these prelims and the charge for quotes, and then staggering them, in a way that best suits how these jobs starts, his workflow, which, the big three, it's profit, cash flow, workflow.
Yeah, that's, it's a great spot to be in, right? You like the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you've got, jobs for the next 24 months nearly is, that's where you want to be. And
it's all about control, right? It's about control. But I just love, taking someone through that positive transformation. I know you do too, when you're working with your clients and you see the light bulb moment when they break from the hamster wheel, because there's nothing worse than just getting work, doing work, getting work, doing work. There's no real market positioning, strategic direction. Yeah. There's no sales process or consistent steps you take someone through. And it's a recipe for burnout, right? It's demoralizing.
But it is harder than, it's easier said than done, right? It's not easy to, stop just, trying to pull out fires. It's because when you're in that cycle, when you're on the hamster wheel, trying to get yourself off it, it's not easy. We do have to acknowledge that, there's work to be done. I'm working with one of my clients, and we talk about this a lot, and we try and put in place a sales process, etc. But sometimes he just gets distracted about everything else that's happening, which actually brings me to my next topic that I want to talk about is really what is distractions costing you?
Good. That's a good one. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to time management, right? So we've got an event coming up on Thursday where we're going to be looking at, how can people, the attendees at the event, free up time to work on their business. So what are the levers that we can pull? Where are the opportunities to free up more time and money so that you could work on the business, which will in turn, free up more time and money and improve efficiency, profitability, and cash flow. So it's breaking out of that negative cycle, and in some instances, it's a downward spiral.
Yeah.
And it all starts with a decision, first and foremost. People have to decide, and Tony Robbins talks about how we move away from pain towards pleasure, but we're more motivated by pain than we are by pleasure. Like if people are more driven to do something to avoid bankruptcy than they are to buy that new Ferrari, So often it's people getting to a point where they're like, I can't do this anymore. And there's a line in the sand that's like, I got to work on my business. Then it's about freeing up time. And we work on, 3 to 5 hours a week, which is not a huge amount. Like even if you are working 80 hours a week, if you're spending 3 to 5, even on a Sunday, if you have to, it's only for 12 weeks. And once you can see lights at the end of the tunnel, it gets a lot easier, right? Yeah. It gives you hope. Because you're off the hamster wheel. So decision, block out the time, but you can't do it on your own. You need guidance and advice. So the 3 hours a week, 3 to 5 hours a week, and 12 weeks to come out of it and start getting some control. And what that looks like is you're starting to be more proactive than reactive. So you mentioned fires. So instead of putting out fires, you proactively sort of looking ahead. So it's forecasting. It's having forecasting your weeks, planning your weeks, your days, a 12-week plan. We spoke about cash flow forecasting team structure, all that sort of thing. And they're all linked. That's why it's not as simple as just doing it. Like there is a sequence. And also why, if you're really busy, it's hard to see the wood from the trees, and it helps to have guidance. But
and sometimes you know what you need to do, but it's still hard to actually do it because you get distracted, because there's other things pulling you in other directions. Yes. And you're right. So it's really about that decision first to say, okay, I know what I need to do. Now, how am I going to do it? And it's about prioritizing and making sure you're working on what you need to be working on rather than getting pulled in all directions.
It's 80-20 rule, right? Because it's no use. And then beyond that, I want to get to your question about distraction. So we've been sort of, sidetracked, going all over the map here. But this is important. So prioritizing from a business development perspective is Pareto principle 80-20, right? 20% of the things you do are responsible for 80% of your results. Results are profit, cash flow, workflow. So those are the systems you want to work on first. And that's what gives you a leg up and allows you to free up money and time quickly. So it's understanding what that is. But then beyond that, like you said, people know what to do. It's not rocket science. You can look at the different areas of the business, marketing, sales, people, finance, admin, systems, and you can go, like, we don't have a job scheduling tool. We're running these jobs on paper on a spreadsheet. If we had a job scheduling tool with a client portal and one place to keep all the information and communicate with our clients and our subbies, we'll be a lot better. We'll be more efficient. We'll have more control, less inefficiency, less wasted time. But the question then becomes, what job scheduling tool should you use? There's a whole plethora of these things, and everyone's screaming at you saying this is the best thing. We live in the information age. Every time you go online, someone's trying to sell you something. How do you know what the best choice is? And then the product's only as good as its use, and it's endless, right? There's so many apps and, these estimating tools and then all this service-related businesses. It comes back to decision-making. A lot of people have decision fatigue. It's even like, which business coach should I use? What, should I be doing a group coaching model, like a paint by numbers, videos, or do I need someone who's got a fit for purpose solution, who's going to really understand me and my business and has a track record of being able to do that, that's going to give me the results I need. So it comes back to knowing yourself, what's the best solution, and also it's leadership, which is what this pod's about, right? Which is really stepping up and leading. A lot of guys are managing the work, they're getting work, doing work, they're managing people. They're not leading. They don't have a vision. They're not captaining the ship and saying, okay, we're heading in this direction. And that takes courage. You need to have balls. But let's get to this distraction question, because it's waiting to be answered, right? It's sitting there staring at us. Distraction. So when it comes to time management, say you block out 3 to 5 hours, and I know that, like I've seen you recently, right? This week you've been doing some deep work, right? And I can almost sense it. Like when I walk into the room, you can feel someone's really thinking, and then I'm like, should I speak to Jess? Should I say something? And then, because I'm well aware when you, and I was speaking to someone about this the other day. It's like when you're thinking about something deeply, right? And I mean, how often do you do that? Where you're in a quiet space, it could be outdoors in nature, whatever, or you're at your desk and you're thinking through maybe a problem or a strategy or a solution, and you'll be holding different thoughts in your head, almost like have a placeholder here, and then you're connecting 5 dots or thoughts, and then you're getting to a solution through this combination of ideas and thoughts. And then someone, the door swings open, someone comes in, hey, do you want a cup of coffee or something? I'm going into the shop, and then that's it. You're like, it just shatters it, and you can't get it back. And then it's mayhem. So distractions, and there's research to show, 19 minutes, between I think 11 and 19 minutes per distraction. So I'm very aware of it, and was talking to one of my guys just last week about the need to create like a bubble or cocoon of time where he's uninterrupted, because he's in an office. So they've just expanded their operation. He's one of our 7-figure club guys on track this year. And he said to me, I've really got to set up another office. He's going to renovate the space there and create an office downstairs. And I said to him, great idea, man. And you've got to sort of lock yourself away. Like, let the team know. I've got guys, Friday's business development day. So they let everyone know, just I'm putting my phone off. You're not going to get hold of me. And then they know that, because if you can create that, even if it's 90 minutes or 2 hours of uninterrupted, just quiet space. And that requires that you turn your phone off, like notifications off, even though your emails pinging off, because that also will interrupt you.
I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, because you've got your office, but I'm like, my office space is in the living rooms, and then obviously our kitchen is there too. So I feel like I get interrupted way more than you would, even just by the doorbell, the postman, the dogs. So and then obviously I'm in and out the door because I've got other things to do. But it's crazy how sometimes I go the whole day and I feel like I've just been interrupted so many times.
It's frustrating as hell,
I haven't
right?
been able to just finish what I was trying to do. You know what I mean? But then also I'm surprised because yesterday indeed I was working quite hard, deep work into something. And then next thing you know, nearly 3 hours had gone by. And so I'm impressed with myself.
In the zone.
Well, not completely in the zone because I did get interrupted, but I was thinking, this is way enough time for me to finish what I wanted to do. But next thing you know, it was nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and someone was knocking at the door. So
while you were doing that task, two things: did you lose concept of self and time? Concept
of time, definitely, because as I said, it was nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Didn't have any food or anything because I started like 10-ish or 11. Concept of self, I don't know. I was just busy doing what I need to do.
You know when you know what that means, the concept of self. So you forget about that yourself. You're just doing something. It's the exact opposite of being self-conscious, where you're thinking, you just like right in.
So,
and then that's flow state, or in the zone. Which
I know this happens to me sometimes because a funny story. Like how I sit on my chair and then sometimes I bend my leg and I sit on my leg. Anyway, It's happened to me that I was like in flow state working on some deep work, and then obviously I'm sitting there for like 2 hours or so. And then when I come out of it, like I couldn't walk because my leg was complete. It was like funny. Pins and needles. It was so bad. But
imagine there was a fire saying at you right for the door. You'd be like on one leg.
Imagine you come out of your flow state and then you're like tripping off of your chair because it's like you can't feel my leg anymore. That's why I'm like, oof, that's great.
But I tell you what, like once you've got momentum, which is a beautiful thing, like the number one bit of feedback we get from our clients, right, is motivation goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Because not everyone that comes to us is struggling, but they just want more control, better efficiency. Often they're successful when it closes the gaps. And even when we were in Perth, there were successful guys there that had fundamentals that weren't in place, right? Like financial fundamentals. They had one guy turn up with his team of accountants, and they're doing a lot of high-level CFO stuff. Like chief financial officer, but, don't know their break-even point or don't have accurate cost codes or cost of sales separate from overheads or running costs. But once you start make a decision to get your shit together and then get a plan in place and then start getting traction with that plan, it's motivating. And then when you've got that momentum and as you start unpacking it, there's more and more to do, right? We've spoken about this a few times where you're like, hey, we need more people. We need to do more because there's more. And that's never going to go away. So really 80-20, prioritize what are the important things to work on. But when you line those things up, there's nothing better than having some quiet time where you can just power through it, man. Bang, you got like 17 things and then you single handle, right? And you just hit them off. And I find a lot of our guys, like they do their best work like on a public holiday. We had the Melbourne Cup here recently, right? Yeah. I know some guys that I just love Melbourne Cup off because the whole nation stops.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching this horse race. But if you're not into horse racing or gambling, which we're not, it's just like your phone's not going to ring. It's dead quiet. And you can get shut down.
No distractions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find also is that this feeling that you're working while other people aren't, and you feel like you're just catching up. Do you have that? Like you feel like, well, I'm the only one working, so I'm like heading.
You're getting ahead.
You're getting ahead, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that also. If I do something on Sunday, I feel like I'm getting ahead because I'm not supposed to be working. Other people are not working, so I feel like I'm cheating and starting ahead.
You got to be careful there. You become like because like if you've got momentum and then it's exciting and you're enjoying what you're doing and you're getting dopamine from it, then that's how you become a workaholic. Yeah. So maybe we've got to cap that.
Maybe we have to look into that. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Otherwise.
Did you answer my question about what distraction is actually costing you?
So let's just title bow on that, just to sum that up. So you absolutely create cocoons of time, like ideally 90 minutes, 2 hours. If you can do 2 of those a week, you're definitely ahead of the pack. And then obviously have a 12-week plan, have an agenda of what you're going to work on You don't want to create a quiet space and then okay, so what are we going to work on again? Like have something listed out that you did the night before already that you're going to work on. But I know guys that have a separate location that they go to, a room. Like there's hired spaces.
Yeah.
Where, and we went to, I don't even know why we went there, but we're in the library, remember?
Yeah.
Not that long. And they had those soundproof booths. That's perfect. It's dead quiet.
Yeah.
And you could go in, and I know some people where it's thinking time, and it's just a pad and a pen, and they reflect on their week. So on a Friday afternoon is a good time to be uninterrupted. But from a business development perspective, you need to block out that time and focus on it, because otherwise it'll drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need that. I'm looking forward to my next quiet time, like just to be able to think of like where we're heading. But
also like I think it's important to mention that people hear us talk about this and they think, so all successful people, they're in total control. They have time management, they block it out, everything, they've got their list and everything, unfolds perfectly. No. It's a constant battle of like trying to rein things in, getting control, finding some time, getting on top of things getting away. It's entropy, right? There's constant forces fighting at your health, your relationship, your mindset, spoke about default mode network, all these things. So recognizing it, and then sometimes you get into the office and you're just it's like shoveling through, just trying to plow through your to-do list. And you're going to be running full tilt to stay in the same place.
Yeah, and I think you constantly bringing yourself back to what you need to do, right? It's like you got 4 days where you're following your routine, etc. You're doing it well, and then the 5th day you're not. And then you constantly bring yourself back to the essential, bring yourself back to what you need to do, bring yourself back to doing your, following your plan, blocking time, etc.
Yeah, and things are changing so rapidly. The world's changing so rapidly, and again, we've got to let everyone trying to sell you things, these bright shining objects. That's why a 12-week plan is so important, weekly plan. And then knowing, and this is important, I spoke to one of my younger guys. I had one of my clients said to me, "Hey, Kirk, do you mind?" I didn't even tell you about this. And I commended him. He said to me, "Do you mind if I ask you for feedback?" There's 2 directors. He said, "Could you give me your like brutally honest feedback on us, on how we're leading the business, and how we compare to other guys you've worked with, and just tell us straight up. What are you seeing?" And like I said to him, like I've been in this for 20 years. Like I've get a good read on people, and I do have an opinion. So now that you've asked me, like I'll tell you straight up. Like if you really want to hear exactly what I'm seeing, like unfiltered, I'll do it. I mean, I would never just go in and tell someone straight up, hey, because we've all got strengths and weaknesses. You don't just go, hey, there's these things here, because it's But when someone asks, because they want you to shine a light on the back, there's things we can't. And I said to him, look, there's things I can't see. You probably look at me and go, we could all see things, especially from a business, from the outside looking into business. You walk into a restaurant, whatever, you go, like if I own this place, I'd do this or do that differently. The time management thing is a leadership decision, right? To lock it in. And that's what that was about, that conversation.
So moving on to something else, and you've just said this to me literally yesterday. So this is brand new, but you want to talk about ambition isn't a feeling, it's a capability.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit, what's the logic behind that?
So ambition. So first up, being ambitious. Like a lot of our clients are ambitious, and it's great. Like I love that. When I'm speaking to someone, they come to me, they go, hey, I want you to help me. I heard you can help me fast track results, and you can see the ambition and drive. And it's important to know that's not greed, right? Ambition is what it is it's like a muscle. It's something that you can develop. The more you work it, the more you develop it. And essentially what it is setting a vision, going after what you want. Clarity is power. And clarity attracts wealth. So again, decide. And then when you go after it, you're going to need to develop skills. So I always maintain, courage is setting a goal that you don't know how you're going to achieve. And interesting how few people can do that. That's another leadership thing. Is going, hey, I want to get in the 7-figure club. I want $1 million in the bank. Straight away your brain's going to go, how are you going to do that? You haven't done that before. How are you going to pull that off? If you can go, well, someone else has done it, I'm sure you can back yourself to figure it out. whatever it is, even if it's 10 million bucks, 100 mil, you know, you want to become a billionaire, whatever it is. Someone else has done it, you can do it too. And then there's the actual results, right? Like you actually build the thing. So you set the vision, develop the skills, and then you get the impact. You get the impact of that. And then there's your proof that it's possible. And then that process in and of itself, you know, is like building that muscle. It creates ambition. And then when you get to whatever finish line it is, whatever that vision was or the goal, then that becomes the next starting line to keep going, because, you know, you don't want to not, you know, risk what you've got and then, you know, sacrifice who you could become, because it's in the pursuit of the things you want that you become a better person, a better leader. Through the skill development and just, you know, the mindset change and the experience, right? It's the iteration and the application of difficult things that builds character, resilience, and that's the real reward, right? Because money's just a means to an end. So it's who you become that is really powerful. And then it's also knowing, part of that is like mindset and just recognizing that there's no shortcuts in life, right? There's no easy, quick fix, which is the bullshit we get sold. You know, the narrative when you put on TV or whatever, social media, it's a grind. It's like walking through molasses at the best of times. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, all right? There's no, you know, quick fix. There's no make money quick scheme thing that works. It's all bullshit, right? You want to get fit and healthy, you're going to need to do some cardio, you're going to have to lift some weights, you're going to have to eat healthy, cut out sugar, drink less alcohol, right? You're not going to take a tablet and then you're going to look amazing. Or go for, you know, get some injection in your face. And then one of my clients' wives flew to Korea and got salmon sperm injected in her face, which apparently is a real thing. Salmon jizz.
Did you see how your brain was on topic talking about something, and then you just this thought bubble just came there, and you just grabbed this?
Well, I thought it was interesting. I thought I'd spice up the conversation. But have you heard of that?
You sidetracked it completely. No,
salmon sperm?
I haven't heard about it. I did hear about it, but I thought it was a joke. So
no, apparently it's a real thing, and it's 1/10 of the cost in Korea. So this guy's wife just used their free fly points, got the flights for free, and then it's significantly cheaper. But apparently, I haven't checked. Should really check with chat. But apparently, the research shows it's the real deal.
Works.
So we should look into it. Yeah.
Oh no, thanks. It's funny.
So moving right along.
Yeah, we sidetracked there.
Oh, okay, yeah. There were all these other thoughts popping up, but I'll just put them in a box and we'll keep moving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, the last topic I want to talk about was really about when you have companies, well, small businesses where you've got 2 people, like whether it's a husband or wife or partners, like, business
2
partners.
multiple directors, yeah.
Yeah,
Husband,
that can be a bit tricky, right? And I know we talk about, defining clear roles and responsibility, which is, it's super important so that each person really knows what are their KPIs and what are their roles, etc. But did you want to mention one of your clients?
So the guy I was talking about before that said, hey, how's to give me some feedback? Part of it was, that there's 2 directors and where they're at. They're making good progress. Good guys, ambitious. So they've got ambition and drive. So they're going to be successful. Just need to keep, consistently working on themselves and the business. But the next step for them is getting role clarity and deciding who is going to be the general manager or the leader of the business. And there's a couple of clients that I'm working on with this. And I said to him, you've got to decide, because there's only one, right? There's only one general manager, CEO of any company around the world. And it's fascinating. There's over 200 countries in the world. There's only one prime minister, one president. There's millions of companies. There's only one CEO, general manager. You think of all the different cultures, no one has 2. It's always one. There's a reason for that, right? One person needs to be that captain of the ship that makes the decisions and that oversees the running of the business and ensures, excellence in all areas, plus profit, cash flow, workflow, and looks at the KPIs, holds everyone accountable, and then is held accountable to those results as well. That's part of the responsibility that the leader takes on. So they needed to decide. So he was a bit unsure, this guy, I asked someone last week, funnily enough, because like I said, there's another company as well. And when I said to the guy, you guys need to sign, he said, that's me. Immediately, he said, that's me. That's I'm the GM. And then we've got a job description, for a general manager of a building company. And that's not to say they're not going to, perform other roles in the business, like, sales or whatever else. But it is about horses for courses and aligning, their unique abilities with the right tasks. But sometimes it's difficult to split and decide who's going to be the general manager, because once someone takes on that role, everyone else needs to fall in behind them. So they are now going to make the decisions. Yes, they will consult with people, just like a president or prime minister has, a lot of people that they consult with, but ultimately the buck stops with them, which is why they're also responsible for, the results or lack of results. They're going to be responsible and take ownership for what happens. Yeah. But so when you can't split it, what do you do? How do you decide? So we did psychometric profiling. The guy ran through DISC, and he came out as a DI, which, by the way, is so D is like dominance, decisive, and there's a spectrum. So above average for D, and I is like an influencer, ability to interact, communicate well with people. And DIs are generally your managers, entrepreneurs,
really
leaders.
good leaders.
Yeah. So he's got that profile. And then you can change that. It's so important. This is where if you've got the right people, and, we obviously talk about optimization and peak performance, and, business is about process of people, best practice process, and then build dream team. When you find the right people for the right role, and then you accentuate their unique abilities and skill sets, that's when you can get X factor. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Look, I think that's all we have time for today. Any last words?
No, I could keep talking, all day on this topic. I absolutely love it. But I think just keep working on yourself. Leadership development, your business will never outgrow your leadership.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care.